welcome back to my channel. Yes, today is Thursday. I had to think for a second. But let's start with greetings. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'm your host here.
Guy in the chair.
He said it. He said it.
And today we'll be going with the critical drink, of course, because it's Thursday. But we have to hear about is the new Captain America 4 a new disaster or will it be good? I don't know. Let's listen and find out and enjoy.
You know, I still kind of remember when some genius in my hometown had the idea to open a gimmicky high-end cocktail bar way out from the city centre in one of the roughest areas in town. It was a decent enough place, I guess. The drinks were suitably sophisticated and some of the bar staff were surprisingly hot. The only problem is that it was so far away from anything else that nobody could be bothered going there, and the only people who lived close enough to use it weren't interested because it didn't serve pints of whatever cheap, mass-produced piss water they used to drink themselves into oblivion every night. In the short time the place was actually open, it was changed into a restaurant, a coffee shop, and even a nightclub for like 3 weeks. But guess what? None of it worked because nobody wanted to go there and the place ended up shutting down within a year. The point I'm making here is that sometimes you just need to accept that your idea was wrong from the start and no amount of reworking and rebranding is going to change that. Case in point, Captain America 4, or Captain America New World Order, or Captain America Brave New World as it's currently known. A movie that seems to have gone through a production process almost as tortuous as Marvel's aborted Blade movie.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
That's been plagued by poor audience reception, controversial name changes, ballooning budgets, endless delays and reshoots, and rumours of disastrous test screenings. And if the latest revelations are anything to go by, the nightmare is only just beginning for Disney Marvel. According to the leaker Daniel Richtman, the latest batch of test screenings resulted in such a tidal wave of negative feedback that Marvel have ordered yet another round of reshoots just 3 months before the film's due to release. And this is coming off the back of 3 months of reshoots from May to August this year, basically redoing half the movie, and another batch in November to try to fix the problems created by the previous batch. And all of this constant meddling and retooling has pushed the total budget to $375 million, or over $400 million if some sources are to be believed, meaning it's probably going to need to make at least $1 billion just to break even.
In the quiet words of the Virgin Mary, come again.
And then there's the constantly changing lineup of characters and actors. Sabra from the comics was scheduled to be in the movie, but funnily enough, the prospect of an Israeli Special Forces operative fighting alongside Captain America didn't sit too well with a lot of people, so the character was quietly renamed and redesigned to be less triggering. First, Chris Evans was supposed to be reprising his role as Steve Rogers, but then he wasn't. Then Mark Ruffalo was supposed to come back as Hulk, until he wasn't. Then halfway through the first batch of reshoots, Giancarlo Esposito was cast as Seth Volker, the villainous leader of a secret society. Because really, why cast him as anything except the same basic character he's been playing since Breaking Bad? Jesus, what are you going to do next? Cast Charles Dance as a coldly menacing antagonist delivering overblown monologues while glaring at his enemies? At first, the plot was supposed to revolve around the Celestial that's been poking out of the Pacific Ocean ever since the Eternals that nobody wants to talk about, but then Kevin Feige announced the movie was going to be grounded, gritty, and believable, which I guess is why they put Red Hulk in the film, because nothing says grounded, gritty, and believable like a 10-foot-tall invincible red monster that can destroy entire cities. Oh, come on! Even the title of the film got changed. The political undertones of New World Order were attracting a bit of controversy, so it was quietly changed to the less offensive Brave New Worlds. Honestly though, I don't see the problem. Yeah, it was a big deal back in the day, but I think enough time's passed that we can look back more honestly on Hulk Hogan's heel turn in WCW.
The New World Order of Wrestling, brother!
Add all of this bullshit together, and it feels like no matter how hard they try and how much money they throw at it, Marvel just can't seem to crack this movie. Truly, you can't polish a turd, and that's what Brave New World is shaping up to be. Which brings me back to the point I was making at the start of this video. Maybe the reason they can't make it work is because it was just a bad idea from the beginning. I mean, casting Sam Wilson as the new Captain America was a move that left most people scratching their heads in Endgame, because not only did it feel unearned, but it also ruined two perfectly good characters instead of one. Falcon was already a cool, well-developed and popular character in his own right, with his own unique history and identity. He didn't need to be handed someone else's leftovers like some kind of fucking charity case. Bucky Barnes was the far more logical choice to take up the shield, because not only was he Steve's oldest friend, and the two of them had risked their lives for each other several times over by that point, but he also came from the same time period as Steve. The two men grew up in the same environment and culture, so they embodied the same old-fashioned values of American patriotism and good fighting against evil. You know, the exact things you want in Captain America. Yeah, Bucky definitely got put through the mill as the Winter Soldier, but the fact he was able to come out the other side and ultimately redeem himself proves his strength of character and his desire to atone for the past. Giving him the Captain America title would have resulted in a more interesting, morally complex character still wrestling with a dark past that naturally lends itself to the kind of gritty, grounded espionage story that you wanted to tell with this movie, while also providing a bit of thematic continuity in a man whose background and core values are still broadly similar to the original Captain America. Instead, they crowbarred Sam Wilson into the role without really knowing how he'd fit into it or where they were going to take him as a character. But man, it sure does help with that ESG score, doesn't it? It didn't really help that his first major outing as Cap was the utterly insufferable shite of Falcon and the Winter Soldier that not only gave us Ginger Jesus and a central message that it's okay to blow up innocent civilians when you think you're entitled to free stuff, but one of the most cringy, patronising and nonsensical speeches ever committed to film. You gotta do... Nope, not doing it. That clip deserves to be consigned to the incinerator of history, just like the rest of that show. It was tedious and insufferable, and in a lot of ways it really was the epitome of the hubris and activism that was infecting Marvel at that point. A studio that was high on the smell of its own farts, that believed it was too big to fail after a decade of hits, that was convinced that it could do no wrong. Oh, how times have changed. Deadpool and Wolverine aside, the MCU isn't the unstoppable juggernaut that it was a few years ago. Marvel can and have done wrong many times at this point, and audiences are getting increasingly tired of both superhero movies and the message. And if I had to trace the root cause of Brave New World's production problems, I'd pin them on this shifting landscape in Hollywood and the wider culture. The winds of change have been blowing pretty hard this year, and Brave New World's increasingly desperate attempts to change course have only served to waste huge amounts of time and money. They've been on the back foot almost since day one, lumbered with a bad idea and constantly trying to catch up with a market that's shifting under their feet. And if I had to make a prediction,
we
I
don't
would
need
guess
a
that the
message.
finished product is going to be a
Entertain
Frankenstein's
us.
monster of different themes, ideas, plot lines, and characters for the different stages of the project, all jammed together into a loud, convoluted mess that doesn't really accomplish much of anything. A film that's going to try to please everyone and end up satisfying no one. Lucasfilm already had their Dial of Destiny, and I think Marvel's about to get a taste of the very same medicine. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey guys, I hope y'all got the good message from watching him and enjoyed it. I know I wasn't like everything. I'm just ready for movies to get back to instead of preaching messages and stuff to us, entertain us. Yeah, that's all we want, to be entertained. But there's what I would say. Don't forget to give the Kroger Drinker a follow if you haven't. And then don't forget to give me a follow too. If you come back for more, hit the notification bell. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you. Hope you had an awesome night and the rest of your day goes really well. And I'll see you in the next video.